What's up, y'all? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. So tonight we're going to talk about another highly anticipated album in this really eventful summer in hip hop. This has been one of, and I've said it on my previous pods lately, one of the best summers I've known in hip hop in a long time. A lot of exciting albums coming out, a lot of exciting projects and singles dropping. So we're gonna get right to it. We're gonna come to talk about the new JID album. I still call him JID, JID, what have you. Exciting. I wouldn't even say young rapper anymore. I could call him a vet. He's been around since 2017. He's got a lot of notoriety from feature work his work on 21 with 21 Savage on his previous project, especially his work with Eminem on Fuel, which was one of the hottest songs of last year off of Death of Marshall Mathers album or Death of Slim Shady album. So he's really come with it, you know what I mean? And he's really made a name for himself as one of the hottest MCs in the game. But I think he's really getting notoriety. He's starting to get his notoriety now. He's really been underrated. I would put him more in the Freddie Gibbs class of underrated greats that don't get the push they're supposed to get, even though they get some notoriety. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Once we do the album review, I want to talk about JID and his place in hip hop. And we're going to try and answer the question, is he really the next one to take hip hop to the next level? Is he worthy of being the king of rap? Is he worthy of a place of a Kendrick Lamar or a J. Cole, or is he in that big three category to really carry the game? Because he's definitely got the lyrics, he's definitely got the talent for it. But what is it? You know what I mean? Why does he not have the notoriety that artists that are much lesser the talent level of him do not have? So without further ado, let's just get to our track list, and let's do what we do. We're going to talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, and we're going to sum it up in the end. And we're going to see what you think about God Does Like Ugly. So, okay, so let's get to it. So just to, bring it back a little bit, JID had some notoriety really coming off of his last project. I know he dropped I think DiCaprio 2, which got a lot of notoriety as being, many would consider, some consider a classic. I don't think it's a really classic, but some do say that. And then Forever Story that came out in 2022. And I enjoyed that album. I liked his album. I think overall, as a catalog, he has a pretty solid catalog. He has one that I think gravitates to, more the lyrical fans of lyrics, fans of flows. I mean, he's got a very dynamic style. He's got a vibe to him, and he can kind of go with the Atlanta wave, you know what I mean, and the Atlanta trap wave, as seen with his latest single with Offset that really was good off of Offset's new project. But I don't know what it is. There's still something missing with him as to why people don't mention him in that class of J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick Lamar. I don't even know if he he has a little bit more notoriety than Freddie Gibbs, but I don't know if he gets the respect catalog wise that a Freddie Gibbs would get. But anyway, let's get to it. God Does Like Ugly. So overall, what did I like with this? I liked his flows. I liked his lyrics. I definitely liked flow wise. This guy could ride any kind of beat. You know what I mean? He was just, it was like water. You know what I mean? He was just floating on these beats, on all of these songs. Like, I think he did a little too much of the chopping a little bit. And see, that's kind of a thing that he did, on his features with Eminem, because I think chopping is kind of, that kind of choppy flow is kind of died out over the last couple of years, with the multis and all of that. But he's a master at that, and he definitely did his thing, with his flows. And I think some of the concepts on here I do like. I'll get to that in some of the when we do the song review. But conceptually, he came with a nice album. Kind of had a conscious feel to it, basically talking about the hood, talking about what he sees, what he visualizes in the hood right now, what's going on in America, what's going on in the hood, what's going on with Black America. So I do like the conscious type of vibe on this record. So I do like that. And it's a good length. It's a solid length. About 15 tracks or so. Not too long, not too short, and it keeps you interested all the way through. So, what didn't I like now? Hold on a minute. Let me get my what. Oh yeah, I already. I'm all over the place tonight. Yeah, what did I not like now? So, what did I not like? Some of the songs on here kind of didn't fit the concept of, well, it fit the concept, but it came off as kind of, you know boring. You know what I mean? Like some concepts that I've already seen before, and I'm like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? It doesn't even fit the vibe of the album. Maybe it's a reach for radio singles or what have you, but a couple of songs were like that. I really didn't like the intro track. It's not I didn't like it. It had legs. Maybe I'm being like nitpicky with it. You know what I mean? But I didn't like West Side Gun on there. I'll just admit I'm not a West Side Gun fan. I think he just screams and he's just wild annoying on tracks, even though he's a dope producer and he's done a lot for Griselda or what have you. But no, I'm not a big fan of him. But I didn't think he really added anything to the first track. And without him, that track actually had legs as a tone setter for the album. But I really didn't like the track, the first track, or what have you. So let's get to the track listing of what the songs that I did like, and let's walk through the tracks that I did get into like that. I'd say "Work" is definitely a dope. It was a single. It wasn't one of the lead singles off of here. I like the energy on here. I like his diction, his flow. Um, it definitely had a vibe to it. And it's a good lead single off of this album. Definitely a tone setter. And then I liked how it goes right into Community, which I think is the hardest record on this album. Of course, Clips joins the project on here, and man, they saying some shit on there. This is probably the hardest track on there, and it's about the hood. It's about the streets. It's about what's going on in the community. They do a little VA ATL dynamic thing on there that I really dig. Like, I definitely dig how they did that. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that's probably the best track on there. So after that, and this is kind of surprising. I like this song "Skate," and it's got an old school booty bass, circa 1995, 1996, 97 Atlanta feel to it, but it kind of takes you back to old school Atlanta, the whole skate culture down there, skating rink culture, and how that's a big thing down there. and it just gives you a dope vibe. It's a feel good record. This to me is like a summertime song. Like I like this single. I like how they did this. I think he should move this as the next single. Definitely as like the album seems kind of heavy with the conscious topics on here that he's talking about. But this is kind of like a break in the action. You know what I mean? Some relief to kind of lighten up the record. And I think it has a great placement right in the middle of the album. So I definitely dig Skate, which knowing my taste, you know, some people might say I might not like it, a song like that, but it definitely has a dope vibe to it. And my next song that I like is What We On. Right into it. It's another vibe record. Now, the thing about this album is, well, I'll get to that on what I kind of didn't like about this album. You know what I mean? With some of these songs, but it's almost like the vibe tracks were better than the lyrical tracks outside of really Community. The best tracks on here were vibe records that you just, you know, like Skate, What We On, or what have you, and also Wholeheartedly with Ty Dolla $ign and 6 LACK. So really, like the smooth records that really you would vibe and just chill out to, more than really showing his lyrical abilities, lyrical skill, were more the highlights of this album than the lyrical records, outside of maybe Community and maybe Work. But we'll get to some others later. So I like that record. What We On with Don Toliver, and Don Toliver does this thing on there too. Excellent vibe record. You're definitely gonna have that on repeat. Wholeheartedly with Ty Dolla $ign. That's another one. And another one is that kind of had to grow on me, but On McAfee. It kind of gives you like that old Atlanta Dungeon Family feel. You know what I mean? It's kind of a throwback to you know, early 2000s, like that Outcast, you know, kind of Dungeon Family vibe. And it's kind of dark. Kind of like, you remember when, I mean, this is like kind of when before Snap music came in and it was more stomp music with Bone Crusher and Little John. It kind of gave you that kind of vibe. And I like that. That he did that and with Baby Kia. So that's a song that's dope. And I think the best conceptual record probably on here was K Word with Pastor Troy, where they flip karma, and basically they talk about karma and what it can do for your life. Like it's a real, you got to check it out. It's really conceptually how they flip that, which is the best concept record on this album. Definitely, it has an energy of it. The beat build up is dope. It's definitely the best, one of the best records on here that I would rock to. So those are my highlights of tracks that I definitely get into on this. Now the songs that I kind of didn't like, again, what I didn't like was that I didn't know where to go with it. Like at first it started off like it was going to be more of a hard, edgy, dark type of feel, but then it basically turned into a whole vibe album. And I think the song No Boo with Jesse Reyes was just, it was cheesy to me. It was really, and what I'll explain to you is this, and I think this is JID's problem. I just can't help it, but JID just gives me too many vibes of Kendrick Lamar. Like his flow, his lyrics, his whole style. This whole album was basically, you know, Section 80 how many years later? It conceptually, it was the same topics, it was the same type of vibe overall, the conscious, semi-conscious vibe on here. But this No Boo song with Jesse Reyes was like a ripoff of Kendrick Lamar and SZA. And at the end of the song, they were singing in Spanish together. They were doing a duet in Spanish for what? Why would you just start singing in Spanish for no reason? I don't know. I don't know if JID is mixed Puerto Rican or something. I don't know. I guess Jessie Reyes because she's Latina, but I was just not vibing in that record. That just did not fit the concept of the record, of the whole album. Some other joints, that's probably the only weak joint on there. There are some joints that I didn't care for too much, like VCRs, even though conceptually and lyrics wise it was good, but I'm not a big Vince Staples fan. So that was okay. G's was cool, maybe could grow on you a little bit. And it's like I said, like on You Ugly, I just didn't feel the vibe from West Side Gun. You know what I mean? He just killed the whole vibe for me overall. So, like I said, really, I think that's the issue with this album. Even though it's dope conceptually, it's got bars, it's got flows. I feel like records and albums like this have been done before. It reminds me too much of like an early Kendrick Lamar record. He sounds like Kendrick. He's got the diction. He's got the whole voice thing going on. Like, and even to like a bootleg copy of him and SZA um on No Boo. So it's like really in the end of the day, it's like I want to love this record, but I just can't get into it to name this like one of the top projects of the year, but still a dope ass project. So overall, let's go to our ratings now. Lyrics, I definitely go with a 9. I think JID brought it. I think he definitely showed his energy lyrically, his style lyrically, conceptually. Like he was hitting on all cylinders on this. This is definitely an A-list lyrical album of this year. Production, I'll probably go with like maybe a 7 to 7.5. Some of the vibe beats I kind of dig, but the beats could be a little bit better. I would have loved to seen what this dude would do with like Alchemist production or even a Metro Boomin type of production. You know what I mean? But beats was probably like around a 7 to 7.5. I would say not too bad. You know what I mean? Flows and energy, I definitely go with a 9 on that. I like that. I like I liked his diction on there. I mean, he was clear. Like you got what he was saying, and he still had a lot of energy behind his bars, and it fit the concepts of the songs that he was doing. So replay value. I'm gonna have to go with probably about like a 7. You know what I mean? I don't think it's album of the year. Like I'm not gonna put this on as soon as I jump in the car. I'm still going to Alfredo 2. I'm still going to Let God Sort Them Out. Those are the pole position albums right now for this year, and I think this album like is right behind that. Features, I'll probably go with a solid. I'd say a solid 8, maybe an 8.5. I think they matched his energy on the album. Probably 8.5 because that Clips features was serious. Like I said, the West Side Gun feature kind of brought it down. Vince Staples, I'm not really a big fan of, so maybe that's my bias talking to me on this. But I'll go with a solid 8 on that as far as features is concerned. So overall rating, what am I going with? I'm gonna go with a straight 8 out of 10. Like I said, I want to love this album, but it's just like I don't see myself replaying this album past like maybe 3 months, outside maybe a couple songs on here that stand out. And it's because this has been done before. It sounds to me a little bit just like a modernized Atlanta version of Section 80. It straight does. Like I can't lie. And when the greats have done it before, I don't really want to hear it again. You know what I mean? It's just too many Kendrick Lamar vibes on this. Even though there's more of an Atlanta feel. This guy really is an Atlanta version of Kendrick Lamar, which they've rumored to actually maybe, I mean, JID wants to work with Kendrick Lamar. I wouldn't mind seeing that. So overall, I would go with a solid 8 out of 10 with JID, and God does like ugly. It's a dope listen. I'll definitely check it out. It's going to be in my top 10. Is it going to be the level of a GNX? No, probably a little bit below that. Not the level of Let God Sort Him Out, you know, but it's still a dope listen. That he shouldn't be shortchanged for that. I think JID came with a real strong project that is top 10 worthy, and he's going to get notoriety as he should for this. So let's get to the other question that I answered at the beginning, or asked at the beginning. Is JID the next one to take the game over and really be a king or a hip hop king, a hip hop? You know, many have put him to be in line as the next one to take over from like a Kendrick Lamar or a J. Cole or those type of rappers, you know, even though he's on J. Cole's label. But you know what it is? It's like I said, like there's still something missing with the guy, and I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? To me, I mean, even though lyrically he's better, I'm still listening to a Freddie Gibbs over him. I'm still listening to a J. Cole over him. And even though JID is up there, I can't say he's on a level right now of J. Cole. You know what I mean? Maybe lyrically he's better, but well, I got to think about that because they're pretty even right now because J. Cole does kill it. But I think J. Cole has a slightly better catalog. He makes a better album. Honestly, I like Mike Delete Later a little bit more than this album right now. I don't know. That opinion could change as time goes on, but there's just something missing about him, and too many of the Kendrick Lamar vibes that I get from him, you know, like an Atlanta version of that kind of makes me take a step back. Like, all right, I've seen this movie before. I don't know if he's going to be that trendsetter, you know, for the next 5-10 years to say he's the next one, or does he have a certified classic album that people go to and say, hey, remember that year when JID put out this album? Oh, I got to go back to that album. Every time I go on, I can't turn it off. Does he have a certified classic? I question that. You know what I mean? But he's got everything else. He's got the lyrics. He's got the flows. He's went toe to toe with Eminem on several projects where he stood his own. You know, he's gone up against the greats on albums, even with J. Cole. You know what I mean? But there's just something missing from him for me to crown him, you know, the best overall rapper in hip hop. Maybe it is some notable singles, some standout classic singles. I don't know. But I can't really say he is. But the funny thing is the guys he's compared against, because he's compared against the guys that came out in the late 2010s, like the Denzel Currys of the world, Little Uzi Vert, even though he's a trap guy or whatever. He's probably the best out of those guys because he's the best lyricist out of that came out of that late generation. Definitely Little Baby and all those other guys. But there's just something missing from him that I can't put a finger on to say, oh, he's going to be that next level guy to take this game over. But I don't know. What do you think? Does JID really impress you as an MC? I think he's worth a listen, man. I would definitely check him out. Check out his catalog. He's got a real solid catalog. He's got some dope records. I don't know if I could call some of those albums classic. I liked his last album. I think I gave His last album, I want to say 8.5 out of 10. It was one of the top projects of the year. So with this one, I'm going with a straight 8 out of 10. I definitely ride with that. And I'll check this album out. Definitely check it out. I think JID really did his thing on here. It's an entertaining album and it's an enjoyable listen. It's not on the level of what I have for the album of the year yet. I mean, I would still put Let God Sort Him Out at pole position. I'll definitely put Alfredo 2, and those are the two neck and neck, even though Let God Sort Him Out as my number one. Then I'll probably say it's Raekwon's album. Then I'll probably say it's the Young Chris and Dave East project, which I'm really feeling. That one. And also, then I'd probably have JID in at number 5 at the best problem with God Does Like Ugly. But it could change. This album could grow on me. I'm definitely got it in on the playlist now. I definitely check it, daily. So we'll see how long the replay value lasts. But I definitely think it's a top 10 album, maybe top 5 now. But I don't see it getting into that top 2, top 3. I don't see it on the level of an Alfredo 2 or Let God Sort Him Out. But let me know what you think. Do you think that it's album of the year worthy? I hear a lot of buzz online saying this is the album of the year. I don't know about that. I think it's a notch below. You tell me. Tell me in the comments. You feeling this JID album? God Does Like Ugly. I'm rolling with a straight 8 out of 10. I think the guy's got potential to be very great, but he hasn't had that moment yet to make me say, okay, that's that guy that nobody in the game can touch. I still don't think he's on the level of J. Cole. Even despite the kind of the fuck shit J. Cole did, apologizing and rap beefs and all of that, nah. I still think J. Cole is better. But this he's right behind. He's up there. He's worth a listen. Definitely check him out. So, JID, God Does Like Ugly, I'm going with an 8 out of 10. Tell me what you think in the comments. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're over 300 subscribers now. Let's get that up. Let's get to 400, y'all. It's a slow crawl, but you got to start somewhere. So definitely support my page, Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. We got more reviews coming, more hot content, and I will check y'all out a little bit later. Definitely enjoy the rest of y'all evening, and definitely check out JID's God Does Like Ugly. I'm rolling with a straight 8 out of 10, and I'll see y'all soon. All right, peace.